Television highlights of the news of yesteryear. It's 1919, and fighting in France halted 8 months ago. So Britain's John Alcock and Arthur Brown will take this converted army bomber on peaceful and historic flight across the North Atlantic. Success of Alcock Brown inspires flights in other giant planes. Near Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Big Pullman of the Air is christened for her maiden voyage, and one more one-time bomber roars into peacetime skies. Airplanes and pilots are still pretty much freaks and novelties in years just after the armistice. Here in Houston, Texas, big crowd of curious is attracted by Air Force veterans and pioneering airmen on National Barnstorming Tour. On plane like those which saw service in World War I and sold by government as Army surplus, daredevils thrill gaping populations with stunting in the sky. But the plane, too, excites American youth. Across the Atlantic, Europe's most enterprising airmen launch some semblance of air travel between London and Paris. In open cockpits, passengers are lifted from ordinary open fields and flown across the channel in flimsy and slow-moving craft. But it's one of man's first attempts to put a device of playboys and daredevils to commercial use. The flying machine is suddenly a long way from Kitty Hawk. Soon, cockpits are covered for comfort of passengers, but still most commercial planes are small. Then, planes designed to carry bigger loads cut cost per trip. It's 1921, and passenger list is now longer than list of crew. Then planes still bigger carry not only passengers, but their baggage too, as flying becomes more practical every day. It's now May 2nd, 1923, and in San Diego, this giant Fokker is being heavily fueled for Lieutenants John McCready and Oakley Kelly at start of history-making trans-continental flight. Next day, they finish flight to New York non-stop. But greatest single contribution to advance and popularity of aviation is made in May of 1927 by 25-year-old Charles A. Lindbergh and his Paris hop. To every youngster in the world, Lindy is the hero of heroes, and playing pilot outmodes playing war or cowboys and Indians. Here are airmen of the future. And here's thrill-packed finish of 1927's second most important flight. It's June 7th, and Clarence Chamberlin, with backer Charles Levine, has reached Berlin after a journey of nearly 4,000 miles. Chamberlin's flight was longest on record for years. Levine was first passenger to fly Atlantic, and in Germany begins the era of sky giants. This ship carried 8 passengers and crew of 3. On Great Lakes in 1929, this giant Dornier is scheduled for service between Detroit and Cleveland, carrying 50 passengers at a time. Bigger still in 1929 is the house-like DOX, equipped with 12 water-cooled Curtiss engines with accommodations for 100 passengers. On test flight, DOX once rose from waters near Friedrichshafen with 169 passengers aboard. It leaps oceans and continents with ease, and gasoline to spare. And then March 17, 1937, the route of the great China Clipper spreads man's wings across the yet unconquered vastness of the Pacific. After trailblazing flights by Captain Edwin Musick and his crews, Sikorsky Clippers make regularly scheduled flights to the Orient. And planes are true luxury liners of the skies. Man's dream of glorious castles in the air come true. And soon both land and sea around the entire globe were covered with a net of airline routes. With distance conquered, time is the next element to be assailed by man's unfluttering wings. With jet propulsion, this Canadian airliner speeds from Montreal to New York in just 1 hour. And as more and bigger planes fly by power of jets, the age of the propeller and gasoline engine seems doomed. From Kitty Hawk to Lindbergh, from Lindy to jetliners, from jets to rockets, who knows but what the next stop will be the moon or Mars.
It's 1929, and in Vienna, Austria, Mrs. Van Leer draws a crowd by lying down on the job. Well, this looks like work anyway. This is 1929 demonstration of what to do if you're caught in the middle of the street when the light turns green. You just turn black and blue.
Detectors don't lie. It's August 3rd, 1922, and convicted killer Dudding is taking one of first lie detector tests on record. At nation's capital, top criminologists question Dr. Dudding, who spent 12 years in prison for crime he claims he didn't commit. Again, doctor says no when accused of killing, and detector says he's telling the truth.
A Republican Roosevelt. It's 1921, and here's Teddy Roosevelt, third grandson of the Roosevelt of Rough Rider fame. And he's pretty good on a horse himself for a lad of 7. Like his late father, he served in World War II. Like his grandfather, he may someday enter White House.
Here with Arnold Daly in 1920 is actress Grace LaRue. And here she is with Hale Hamilton, wishing her bon voyage. Star of Broadway and London Stages from 1907 to 1929, Miss LaRue created sensation singing song You Made Me Love You.
Back from trip to Japan in 1926, here's financier Thomas W. Lamont with Martin Egan. One of nation's biggest bankers, Lamont was expert in international finance, prime mover in worldwide establishment of peaceful international relations. Thomas Lamont.
Devon disaster. No, this isn't aftermath of atom bomb, but the result of the fury of an explosion in a factory full of firecrackers. For it's April 3rd, 1930, and series of 3 explosions has leveled 7 acres of the Pennsylvania Fireworks Display Company and damaged property in wide circle around the powder plant. Many residents are hurt, and many automobiles and trucks are wrecked beyond repair. State police and cadets of nearby military academy patrol streets of stricken area where 10 are dead, 4 critically injured, and scores more less seriously hurt. All fatalities are in factory itself, but among injured are passers-by and residents of area cut by flying glass, when tons of firecrackers all went off at once.
Nature's Service Station. It's 1924, and at Black Diamond, Alberta, Canada, oilmen have opened wells that produces the finished product, refined gasoline. It's talk of newly opened Turner Valley Field. And if you don't believe fuel can be taken straight from well to auto tank, just look at this. Mother Nature's own brand of gasoline has pep. He hardly put his foot on the accelerator. Honest.
The bells of Riverside. It's 10th of September 1930, and then biggest bell in America starts journey to Laura Spellman Rockefeller Carillon atop picturesque Riverside Memorial Church above the Hudson on Manhattan Island. Trip of 400 feet takes just 5 minutes. Weighing more than 20 tons, bell was made in England, is next to last to be placed in 4-octave carillon. Its tone is low C, and one more bell, low D, almost as big, has yet to be hoisted into place. told, Carillon will soon house 72 bells to fill the Manhattan air with music from heaven.
Some shakes. At Jack O'Brien's reducing salon in 1936, here's example of the fashionable way to get that girlish figure. But it sounds as if the girls are also getting the giggles. Let's listen. No, they're not being tortured, but for a flat fee are getting their tummies flattened. It wasn't only fun, it was also the fashion.
Bucking outboards. It's 14th of July, 1935. And here's start of outboard motorboat regatta at Buffalo, New York. And it's speed, speed, speed. Sharp turns of closed course make every turn a possible last turn for every racer. And anything can happen anytime. It's anybody's race. Anybody's? Well, it's not going to be this fellow's unless he wants to swim across the finish line. Only thing hurt by spill is his pride as he treads water and watches other boats. Buffalo's outboard motorboat enthusiasts are in for still more excitement as Fred Jacoby Jr. wins. But this isn't Jacoby. This is just another also ran and also tipped over and almost ran over the cameraman. Oh.